There are so many inferences of what a soul is. The truth is, a soul is what you make it to be. A soul can be something that is divine, something that is not fully known, something within that forms a basis of our behaviour. Whatever we deem our soul to be, it is something that we treasure, something that is part of us, to call upon at our time of need. A soul also can be subject to question. As our souls are held so dear, it can become vulnerable. As for those who understand the delicacy of each soul, can look at ways to infiltrate it, take advantage of the emotions that it beholds. Such a notion of this susceptibility is something that Plato speaks of, which is the subject of this video. Take a look at my other Plato videos. He talks about thought in an elevated way, to question beyond its immediacy, to how we can enhance ourselves through our own reflection. Click the links in the description. Plato asks us a question: is there no evil which corrupts the soul? As inside each soul, there is a ball of emotion that opens itself to all of the world's virtues and vices, becomes subject to the spells of others, those who prey on others' misfortunes, when we immerse ourselves too heavily in sensation. It is such a soul that can be seduced by passion and anger, pain and pleasure, which are inseparable from each other when others ignite our cravings. We cannot, though, deny the ability of such people who know the ways of our souls, as they know the path towards our passions. As our souls are of many levels, it is from our lower selves that becomes enraptured with the fury of a flame, without a sense of how this flame will incense itself. As within its lows is where our soul comes into conflict. It is through such an indecision that arouses our rational emotions. Yet a soul can rise to a level even that exceeds beyond itself, as if a person whose soul stands even at a destitute of depth, but knows from whence it has come, could then believe that their soul has moved to a higher place. For when a soul is at its peak, is able to fathom reason, a reason that yearns for a love of wisdom, seeking virtue as if it were immortal, though is able to grow and allow itself to heal and resolve through a means of its own values. But to look at her as it actually is, now not as we now behold her, marred via communion with the body in different miseries. You must contemplate her with the eye of reason, in her original purity, and then her splendour might be revealed, and justice and injustice and all the matters which we have defined will be manifested greater truly. To put this in context, Plato was talking about the role of poetry in Greek tragedy, as to how the dramatic nature of these performances corrupted the souls of many through their devices to arouse our emotions, apply imitation, and yield us towards an irrational means of decision-making. In modern-day terms, the poets of the ancient Greeks can be transposed to the artisans that we adore in music and film, and even those whom we follow on social media. It could also include those who use their craft in their rhetoric to persuade and enrage their subjects as a means to fulfill their own agendas of power and personal gain. Arts and politics, though, are a part of life. These are our necessary resorts for pleasure, therapeutic release, and yet its emotional content can also retort us into its own pain. We will at times need to heed to our emotions. So as we close, we ask this same question. Is there no evil which corrupts the soul? As we now understand, we know that our souls can be corrupted from its evils. We can also realise that our souls are intricate enough to render their passions, but can duly recognise a love for wisdom. And through finding this higher self, we can discover our means to seek resolution through our own values. Yet, for as much as we try to align ourselves with our higher self, we are emotional beings. So to therefore be rational and kinetically pause and reflect in each circumstance is not always possible. Our minds consist of its central emotional core, which can trigger our upper cortical regions and enhance our capacity for logic. It can also trigger our lower brainstem, which is responsible for the fury and fear of our fight or flight. Our thoughts still share the same extremities. It is then from this awareness that then becomes a bridge between what is confusion and understanding.